everyone, it's me, Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be finishing up an acrylic painting that I started a while ago. This one got set to the side because I moved to another state, first of all. And secondly, when I did get everything back together and ready, I started doing these Sketchbox and Art Snacks videos first. But now we are back into doing this one, and this one gets finished in this very video. This painting is my interpretation of the Egyptian goddess Bast. And a lot of this is just a bunch of detail work with a couple of different sized brushes. A lot of them are just really tiny liner brushes, and I'm going between reds, blues, yellows, and golds. I wanted to stick with a primary color palette because some of my inspiration comes from comic books and superheroes. Also, I think it just makes her stand out quite a bit. I just like using primary colors. That's the real reason. I do pull in a couple of different paint markers at various points in this work. One is a Krink marker in primary yellow, and it is a huge nib on that one. That one is a K75 marker. Be careful if you use this one because it does have an intense alcohol-based smell. Make sure with this one in particular you're careful because the fumes are pretty intense. You might want to have a window open, take a couple breaks, or wear a face mask if you use these. During this point in the project, like I said earlier, I'm using liners, doing a lot of detail work. I'm also altering values so certain parts stick out more and certain parts recede into the back, adding darkness where necessary and lightness where necessary. I also decided to make part of that little piece on her forehead, the one that's almost shaped like a crescent moon, stand out a bit more. I wanted to add a sort of magical looking effect to it. So there are some lines that are going to end up coming out of it that could be smoke, could be light. It's something. Don't know what. I also added more layers of paint in a couple of different colors to that background. It was fairly flat before, so I pulled in some of the darker red that I used on her lips and on the mask. Pulled in that yellow marker that we mentioned before and the gold ochre color. It kind of mixed it around. Did some lines with the paint, created a little bit of texture and a little bit more depth. It was just super flat and basic beforehand. I feel like this adds something to it. For this project I used a Winsor Newton Professional acrylic paints. I've used the Galleria line from Winsor Newton Acrylics Wise before. I hadn't really used these ones yet. I actually like them fairly well. They're a good consistency between the heavy body paints that I usually love using and the ultra lightweight fluid acrylics, which aren't my favorite. Some of the colors are sheer enough with a little bit of water to easily layer over and tint something. And they are also really easy if you don't get the coverage you want the first round. If you go over it 2 or 3 times, it builds up really beautifully to be very opaque. The liner brushes I'm using too are just some detail brushes I got off of Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's from a no-name brand kit. Pretty nice. I enjoy those too. I haven't really gotten to use them much yet before this project. I'm digging them. They worked pretty well for making small lines and being able to control them. Around here is the point where I start reconfiguring to add that little magical element to the forehead piece. I really wanted to add some very intense white in the middle of that to make it look as though there is a light or smoke or both coming out of there. And also I used some black, deeper blue, and a little bit of olive green mixed in with both of those to tint over the bangs and the hair I already had there to darken that up to make that piece stand out a little bit more. They are looking a little too samey with color. Also, this tabletop easel is a new thing for me. I just got it from a local arts and crafts store that is shutting down. It ended up being about half off, so I figured might as well try it. I like using easels for acrylic paint in general, first of all, but for filming I've usually been doing it on a tabletop. I also like the tabletop easel because I can keep everything a little combined. I also have my normal one for bigger projects. This easel will also help with issues with my back, shoulders, etc. If you're an artist or you spend a large chunk of your time bent over for working on anything, you can even be doing a lot of computer work, your back, shoulders, etc., you get some pretty nasty posture issues and some pain, especially as you get older. It's not fun. Regardless, I'm happy I have this now. I'm happy I was able to find it on a good sale as well. I probably wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. Now back to the painting. At this point I am pulling in white highlights using that liner brush and some titanium white. I wanted to add some definitive, really bright highlights to the mask and elements of the mask. Also brought them back to the lips and some other areas to help certain spots pop out even more. Also just to make them look shiny or reflective. This painting is actually going to be going to my grandmother. She collects a bunch of Egyptian style things, and she has for quite a while. She has a bunch of older drawings I did in high school that depict some Egyptian style things, so hopefully this way she can have something a little more updated. I'm not the best artist in the world, but there has been some improvement in the past decade and some change. I start pulling in some lighter blue back into that hair area that we darkened up earlier. It's still dark enough to where there is a big enough difference between that and the forehead piece. The hair was just looking a little too flat for me, so I wanted to pull some other shades back in. It's always nice to go back to doing acrylic painting, for me at least, and for it to be something that's a little bit larger. For a lot of the projects I do on this channel, since it's usually testing out art supplies, it's on a small little piece of paper or canvas, and it's something that's usually finished in an hour to 3 hours. This one took a little bit longer than that, and it was nice to go through that process, record all of it. I did have to separate the videos a little bit, but it was nice to spend a longer amount of time on something, especially having that break in between. I like sometimes having a break in between working on something for a long period of time and then going back with fresh eyes. The sides of the canvas stay white for this video, but I do paint those off camera later. I usually just do the same color as the background, so I use that gold ochre and I just layered it a couple times so it's nice and opaque. A way that you can avoid getting paints back on the fronts of the canvas, if you want to paint the sides but you're worried about that, you can always use painter's tape on the front and just tape it up to the edge so that way the paint does not touch the front of your canvas, so you don't mess up your beautiful painting you just did. You'll just want to make sure it's a low enough tack of tape to where it doesn't rip up any of the paint you applied. Just make sure the front of your canvas, all that paint on there, your beautiful artwork, is dry before putting any tape on it. But this project here is almost done, therefore this video is almost done. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, feelings, or concerns, please let me know in that comment section down below. I look forward to hearing from you. If you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe. I want to take this moment to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day or night to watch this video and listen to me ramble. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon, and you will definitely be hearing from me soon. Bye, everybody!